Welcome to the new space, man.
Yeah, man. You're almost there.
Yeah.
In Roberts Creek, you'll find a hair salon called Fade and Dye. Blair Douglas is a barber there. And over the last couple of months, Blair's built an expansion of that space. Right next door. A space he can call his own. A space he basically built on his own.
I'm no longer waking up in the middle of the night going, I have so much shit to do.
Ever?
There was like 6 weeks where every day was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as a small business owner, you wish for certain things. And then you're like, oh, cool. I got it. I leveled up. And you're so happy about having leveled up. But then, like, what happens when you level up? You're like, oh no, it just means a whole bunch of more work.
Because now you gotta do it.
Yeah. And everybody comes by and they say, hey, it's looking great in here. You must be so happy. And I'm like, my heater doesn't work. I need to reinstall the sink.
There's crap everywhere.
Right? And people are like, oh, well, the best thing about building it all yourself is that you can really just make it how you want it. And you can, after like 3-4 tries.
It took some effort, but the space is pretty much ready to rock. It has one chair, one sink, and one Blair. That's where Blair now cuts hair, including mine.
Let's not talk about me. What do you want to do with your haircut?
Well, as you can tell, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
And as you know, I never know what I want to do with my hair.
Well, we usually talk about where you are in your life and what you want to accomplish with your next haircut.
That's true. And not to hit it on the nose, but I've launched a podcast.
You've launched a podcast?
So maybe. That's the haircut.
Well, I think we'll just do kind of what we always do.
This is Secret Sunshine. I'm Dominic Girard. This episode, Blair, hair, and self-care. This episode of Secret Sunshine is sponsored by the good folks at Sunday Cider. I'll check in with Clinton at the cidery a little later in the episode. You can find them off the highway just outside Gibson's, in select liquor stores and restaurants, and online at sundaycider.com. And of course, you must be of legal drinking age to drink Sunday Cider. Why have you chosen this to be your profession? Why do you end up on the coast cutting hair?
I've been cutting hair since I was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And never as a job, just something that I did for fun. I've done a million different jobs. A lot of those jobs involved me like traveling, and a lot of those jobs involved me working in camps and this, that, and the other thing.
But was cutting hair the continuity through all that?
I always had shears and clippers with me.
Like literally you would pack them wherever you went?
Yeah.
That's fun.
And mostly it was just so I could groom myself, but there was always people like, oh, I need a haircut. Who cuts hair? And I'm like, I do. And so I just cut hair. And then when I moved here, like I had no intention of being a barber when I moved here. And then I met Bex, and Bex was like, yeah, be a barber in my shop.
Bex had Fade and Dye.
Yeah. And it had never occurred to me that this would be what I did for a living.
So despite having done it casually since you were 13, you stumbled into it here.
Yeah.
How surprised are you that we're here having this conversation in a shop you're building for yourself to cut hair?
I mean, not that surprised, because I've always wanted to have a shop. Like this room. Like I built this room for myself to be in. You know? And I don't have another room in the world that is mine. Like I have a family. I live with my wife, my kid, my dogs, my cat, and we all share this space. And then this is the room that I get to have that's mine. But then I build this room to share it with people.
So who's it for then?
I think that this place exists so that we can have a place to, I want to say a place to be men, but that's not what it's about. But like, it's a masculine space. Mm-hmm. But I'm careful when I use those words, because I also like have a lot of like queer customers. I do a lot of like gender affirming haircuts, and I guess essentially that is very affirming the masculine. But like I don't want it to be just for men. Like, that's the tricky piece.
Just for people.
Just for people. And yeah, I don't know. We're going for the masculine. Like, that is why there's 2 different rooms at Fade and Dye.
As in, you want this to feel like an extension of Fade and Dye?
Yeah. Like, I mean, you look around, like, it's the same color palette, right?
Well, it's more pink over there and it's more blue over here.
Yeah, but it's all the same colors.
So what is the aesthetic then? On a like visual sort of mood boardy sort of level, what are you trying to put out?
I think it remains to be seen a little bit. You know, like I'm just getting into this space now, and I'm kind of like waiting to see how it all really develops. Like, and that's something that I want to do slowly, because I want the space to, I don't know, build itself a little bit.
A year from now, 3 months from now, you come into this space, and what do you want to walk into every morning when you start your day?
I want to get in here in the morning and feel at home, so that I am as comfortable as I can possibly be. When you come in here, you get a feeling of who you're dealing with. If you've never been in my shop before, if you don't know me, I want you to see that, like, this place was built by hand. Mm-hmm. And I want you to know as much about me as possible.
Just by coming in?
Just by coming in.
So right now I walk in and there's a pair of baby shoes, kid toddler shoes, hanging off a wire.
Those are my son Charlie's. Those are his old Chucks.
Yeah.
He grew out of those a long time ago. And now everyone that comes in is like, so what does it mean when shoes are hanging over a line? I've heard it means a bunch of different things. Does it mean you're selling drugs here? And I'm like, does it? I'm not selling drugs.
For the record.
For the record.
Categorically.
I wish I was selling drugs, man. They're selling drugs next door. There actually are, that actually internet cable is for somebody who sells drugs.
It's for the cannabis shop?
Yeah. I don't sell drugs. I sell hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams and haircuts.
Hopes and dreams. I'm not actually selling haircuts in here.
You're not?
No. I'm selling well-being. I'm selling you confidence. You come here because you want to sit in my chair and feel good. Mm. Cutting hair is an intimate experience. I'm pretty sure there's some of my clients, I'm the only person that touches them. I touch you and I'm providing care that like relates to your appearance, like to how you present.
Yeah.
And I think that being in an environment like this, where there's only one chair, where we have one room and there's just the 2 of us, makes it so that we can go there.
And it's a haircut, so it's safe.
Yeah.
I'm just cutting your hair, dude.
Just cut your hair, dude. I guess what you're doing when you're a barber is you're affirming people's identities. And what I do is I help people be who they want to be. Hmm. And sometimes they don't even know who that is. And then I have to guess.
You ever get it really wrong?
Yeah, I've gotten it wrong.
Like what?
Like a lot of people come in who haven't had haircuts in a really, really long time. And they're like, I just want to know. I just need to, and they don't know, right? And they give me like this big blank canvas, right?
Yeah.
Somebody might have like the perfect hair for me to give them like a big old pompadour. And if I'm in the mood, then I'll do that, right? And they'll look like $1 million. And then they'll come back like a week later and be like, I can't pull this haircut off. I'm like, I know you can't. I'm sorry that I did that to you. Sit down in my chair. We will fix it. You know?
Okay, let's pretend that we're giving Blair a moment to fix that untamable pompadour. So while he's doing that, let's go check in with Clinton McDougall at Sunday Cider. Hey, just popping by Sunday Cider for this episode because you're sponsoring Secret Sunshine, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can't help but notice that you might need a haircut.
It's true. And I have a really great barber. Love that dude. His name's Blair. But I don't see him enough. I think my wife and children wish that I'd go see him because that's getting a bit shaggy. So Blair, if you're listening, let me know if you got an opening next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think there are easier ways to book them. One thing that Blair tells me is that he doesn't sell haircuts. He sells well-being. He sells confidence. So I'm going to put that question to you. If Sunday Cider doesn't sell cider, what does it sell?
Oh, I think Sunday Cider sells the little bit fine and far out way of going about things. We sometimes refer to ourselves as suitably bonkers, and we think some of the more interesting things in life are a little bit out there. So when people come here, we like to kind of tap into that and give them license to just kind of let loose a little.
Let their hair down?
Let their hair down. Be themselves.
So if you're talking about suitably bonkers right now, what's your favorite suitably bonkers cider that you're excited about?
Our most suitably bonkers cider right now is one that we just bottled. That is our Twice as Nice Pinot Gamay. And it's Pinot Noir and Gamay grapes that were done with the cider. And it is electric pink lightning in a bottle. There is just some big, bright, crispy acid going on, but it's really well balanced. So it's a bit of like, wow, it's super refreshing and really, really works. And a little bit out there. Just released.
That's Clinton McDougall at Sunday Cider and a sponsor of this podcast. Find them online at sundaycider.com. And remember, you must be of legal drinking age to drink this product. Now back to Blair at Fade and Dye. Oh, and I should mention, coming up, there's a moment with some colorful language. Where were we? What are we doing?
We were trying to make you look like, you know what you're doing.
Do I?
I don't know, do any of us?
That's the thing, right? As you get older, you just start to accept that, wait, nobody has their shit together, ever.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad gave me this beautiful piece of advice, and he said, the hardest thing is not getting what you want, it's knowing what you want. And I was like, oh, that's great advice, Dad. And then my mom gave me this really great piece of advice also that was, Blair, you're never gonna know.
That's a 1-2 combo that
right? Those are my parents. I love them.
that hits.
They're responsible for everything that I do.
So you're saying that you needed this space.
I need this space, but I want this space. The whole thing, Dom, is that I want to give whatever I have to people.
Why?
Because why not? Like when you give yourself away, that's, I don't know, like what else are we here for? We're here to work and we're here to serve. And we're here to give ourselves away. I mean, I can't speak for my clients, but I think that that's probably what they like about coming in here is that they feel like they're being cared for in a way that's like, I was gonna say honest, but I don't know how honest it is because every day I'm struggling to be as honest as I can and be as true to myself as I can. And every day that I'm at work, I try to do that for 15 different people. And sometimes that's not how it goes, man. Dom's looking tidy.
When you give and you give and you give yourself away, how much of it is a performance?
I mean, a lot of it. Like,
how do you feel about the performance part of your job?
when I'm feeling good, then that performance is a joy, right? But then there's definitely times where it's just like, it's labor.
Yeah.
When I first opened up to cut hair in here, you know, I'm trying to figure out the heat. I'm trying to figure out, like, my partner's had like a very stressful time at work the past few months too. And then I've got a 2.5-year-old at home.
Who's a 2.5-year-old?
Right? And so sometimes there's been days where I'm driving down Lower Road yelling fuck in my truck, just like fuck, 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 fuck.
On your way to work.
On my way to work. And then I get here and I go, I'm like, okay, now I must go and give myself to my clients. And it's a real big deal to be able to sort of show up for people in those situations.
What does that look like?
I think what it mostly looks like is like taking my hard bits and softening them and like coming to a realization that every one of us is going through a struggle. And when people come into my shop and sit in my chair, I'm here to help them with their struggle. So my struggle has to be managed before I can do that.
That makes sense, but that's a lot.
It is a lot. And I don't know if that's like, if people realize that when they come into a barber shop and they sit down and their barber's like, hey man, how's it going? How's your life? Tell me what's going on.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah? Like the other day, I had 2 clients in a row. The first 2 clients of the day, both of them told me that their wife left them.
That was the beginning of your day.
Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, man.
What do you do with that?
What I do in those situations, I do this.
Hands on the shoulders.
Yeah. Just for a second.
And then?
And then I go back to cutting their hair.
Then you cut their hair.
Yeah. But that's what I do. Like, people tell me shit, man. And I have to be available to like listen to them. Yeah.
I feel like you put a lot into this. And I wonder if you're putting more into this than I've ever considered. Or if there's something about you that can't help but put a lot into it.
I don't know. There's definitely something about me that can't help but put that into it. But I think that that's common in this trade. I think that everyone who works in the beauty industry does that to a certain extent. Because you need somebody that's not your friend, that's not your family, like your counselor, I guess. I've actually thought about getting a counselor's license, and then somebody I know that is a counselor is like, don't do it because it doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, okay, same Z's with the barbers, because I don't need a license to do this either.
I wouldn't say I've spent much time thinking about what it might take for a barber to be mentally, physically, emotionally prepared to service clients. I mean, Blair and I, we spend most of our time joking around, talking about music, movies, and whatever latest thing happened on Vanderpump Rules, a TV show that I've never seen. Though, I suppose, every once in a while, conversation does get real. And since having this conversation with him, I've had a bit of a, well, duh, realization. You know what I mean? Of course a barber has to be on all the time. A barber in a bad mood is a barber you don't go back to. We get our haircut because we want to feel good about ourselves and be with someone who makes us feel good about ourselves. So the clippers and the shears, they're only half the tools that Blair pulls from his bag of tricks time and time again to help us get there.
All right, buddy. I think that's pretty much your haircut.
Same haircut.
It's a little different.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's the thing. It's always a little different.
It's always a little different. Lucky for us, the Sunshine Coast convinced him that this is what he should do for a living. So, with all apologies to Blair's mom, it sounds like he's figured out what he wants. Thanks, man.
My pleasure.
You'll find Blair in his chair right next door to Fade and Die in Roberts Creek. And I also put a link in the show notes to this episode. Use that to book some time with him. Also, on the show notes, you'll find a link to Sunday Cider, this episode's sponsor. Secret Sunshine is hosted and produced by me. I'm Dominic Gerard. The show's music is composed and performed by Max Henry. Find out more about the show, like how to follow it, where to find it, how to sponsor it, how to email me, how to find me on Instagram, over at secretsunshine.ca. Thanks for listening. More Secret Sunshine coming soon.